Hello folks, my name is William Bridges, coming to you from my home in La Follette, Tennessee, and I've been given the opportunity to do a brief podcast to my fellow students and to our instructor Colette. And the topic of this podcast is activism. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and I've been involved with activism for a number of years. And kind of a funny anecdote to it, if you'd have mentioned to me 20 years ago that in my later years I would be a quote-unquote activist, I'd probably give you the response of, yeah, right. But you know, in the process of time, it became evident that there are real problems in the world. And there is kind of a group mentality among human beings that someone else will take care of it. Someone else will handle the problems. Someone else will speak up. Someone else will make it right. The government will make it right. Many people say it, or seem to think. And that's just not the case. Why not we stand up? Why not we take charge? Why not we speak the truth? Why not we handle the problem? That is the basic mentality of the activist. You're no longer content to let someone else speak for you. You're no longer content to let the system work itself out. And I don't want to digress into political affiliation and the woes of the country, which would be too long of a subject to cover in this video. What I want to do is emphasize the fact that becoming an activist, whether it be an environmental activist, whether it be a political activist, whether it be animal rights, whether it be any number of causes, the thing is, you are helping someone or something that cannot help itself, or it needs help defending or improving its situation. Whether it be a human, whether it be an animal, whether it be the rainforest, whatever. It's something that needs your voice, your input, your labor, your love to improve the situation. And just a little brief overview of the different types of activism. I've already covered the names, but there is a hands-on activism that is going and doing protests. Peaceful protests, but protests nonetheless. There is letter writing. There's podcasts like I'm doing right now. Emailing. You know what? There's a plethora of platforms as well as a plethora of causes. And you may say, well, what's the point? Because it'll be what it will be. Will it? Is my question back. Will it? You know, what about Martin Luther King Jr.? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What if he had never made the I Have a Dream speech? What if Rosa Parks had never defended her seat on the bus? What if Gandhi never made that march to the ocean to get salt? What if you hadn't made your statement in class defending free speech? What if, and that's the thing, what if? What if everyone took a more active role in what goes on in society, instead of taking the passive wait and see, or it'll iron itself out attitude? And I don't want to sound preachy. I don't want to sound like I'm condemning anyone. The reason for this video, this podcast, is to extol the benefits to you of becoming an activist. Like I said, if they told me 20 years ago I'd be an activist, I'd have probably, laughed it off. But when you start seeing how bad certain situations are, and you start asking yourself, what can I do? And you start investigating, that's the first step. If any of you out there listening to this have ever said, well, that's just not right, and that is a large group domineering or enslaving a smaller group, forcing their agenda on someone else, or hurting an animal that can't defend itself, or deforesting a forest, a landmass, for profit. And we could go into the ramifications of depleting the rainforest for hours, but that wouldn't bring around the point that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to get across the benefit to the person who decides to become an activist. There's a benefit, a direct physical benefit to you. Physical, mental, spiritual benefit to you. Because you not only have the passion of that cause, you have the gained intellect, you have the sense of purpose, you have meaning, if you will. And you can look at it from two viewpoints. You can be on the side of light, or you can be on the dark side, to use the Star Wars analogy. There are those Jedi who fight on the side of light. There are those who are on the dark side. Luke Skywalker made the comment to Yoda. He asked him, well, Master Yoda, is the dark side stronger? Yoda said, no, easier, more seductive. And that's the same with life. To transfer that over into real life, the side of darkness, which seeks to enslave others, or manipulate others, or make a profit at the expense or the suffering of others, or destroy rainforest, or to hurt animals. That's the dark side. We who stand for light, we tell the truth. We bring you both sides of the argument, and we try to show that the benefit is going toward the light, not toward capitalistic, and I have to say pseudo-capitalistic, because real capitalism wants everyone to prosper. Real capitalism is the idea of a lock. Take the Panama Canal. You have a ship sitting in the lock, and there's smaller ships beside the larger ship. When they flood that channel, the ensuing water lifts everything, the big ship as well as the smaller ones. That's the idea behind capitalism. Everybody is lifted up. And I don't want to digress into capitalism versus socialism, feudalism, Marxism, Leninism, Stalinism, all those assorted isms. But that's the point. That is a microcosm of the whole argument to become an activist, is that you have two sides, at least two sides, to every issue. There is the side that wants everyone to do well, and there's the side that wants self to rise above and everybody else be trampled underneath. And this is a real struggle. This is a real conundrum. This is a real mindset. And some folks may laugh at the concept of an activist, but I put to you this example, that in the process of examining any particular issue, you learn. You increase your own knowledge. And is that not the point of going to college? You learn how to think. You learn how to process information. You take all the available information. And I know you can't get everything, but you take the arguments of both sides and you extrapolate from that the truth. Because there is a definite disinformation campaign. Which leads to another point. The work involved with being an activist. The internet has given us a plethora of information. And with the information is also dis and misinformation. Spin doctors are ones who craft a narrative with twisting facts and creating facts and manipulating facts. You've heard putting the proper spin on anything? That's a spin doctor. And it's the opposite of activism because it is designed to manipulate, not inform. And I'll make this comment that an informed society is an empowered society. Knowledge literally is power. So, if you have knowledge, it is best to use it for the side of good. To quote another film from the film Spider-Man, Uncle Ben made the statement, "With great power comes great responsibility." And I believe that is another key aspect of activism, is responsibility. Two websites that I really do endorse and I have utmost confidence in because I've checked them out. I've done my own research. I've checked their links and it pans out. These two websites that I really do promote for anyone who is considering activism is Infowars.com and DrudgeReport.com. And I know they're .coms, but they do check out. We were told recently in one of our learning activities, be careful of .com websites for research. But the only reason these two are listed as .coms is because they are companies, but they promote truth. And the lesson also said not to summarily dismiss a .com as unreliable. You have to check it out. And I have checked them out, and I encourage you to check them out. Because Infowars in particular, they will link with a blue link where you can go online to check the source. Oftentimes it is military documents. It is government documents. WhiteHouse.gov. Many times they are linked to. So these headlines that you get on Infowars and DrudgeReport.com, they're not just fairy tales. And there's a disinformation campaign against them as well. And I don't want to digress, but I do recommend anyone who is considering activism to check out Infowars.com, DrudgeReport.com. There are others, but these are two that I've had the most experience with, that I quote from regularly and that I post to Facebook and other media on or from. And before I go too far down that road, let me return back to center. Activism is what we're talking about. And I want to tell you, there is a benefit not only to the cause that you take up, which is a great thing. It's great to benefit a cause, but you also benefit yourself. There is a song by Mercy Me called "I Would Die For You." And one of the lyrics from that song says, "You never know why you're alive until you know what you'll die for." And it is true. Folks, you don't know why you're here on this planet until you know what you would give your life for. and I don't want to sound macabre, and I don't want to sound scary. There is no fear when you develop this attitude that the truth is the most important thing. And this is backed up in Scripture. To lay down your life. No greater love has ever been shown than that a man lay down his life for his friends. That's Jesus Christ who spoke those words. And I'm not trying to get into religion. I'm not trying to promote a religion. If anyone asks, yes, I am Christian. And I would lay down my life for my Savior. But that's another topic. I investigate and I research any claim. And that's, I guess, possibly more important of what I'm trying to say than trying to extol the virtues of activism. Is seeking out the truth in everything. Do not accept what a rabbi, a minister, a priest, a preacher, a politician, a teacher, an institution, no matter what kind. Do not take anything at face value unless you've already seen from experience that it's true. Investigate everything is what I'm trying to get across. And it is good for the human race as a whole. It's even better for the individual because you become informed. You become more knowledgeable. Now let me tell you about the cost. There is a definite cost to being informed. You will lose friends. You will lose family. I did. I lost friends. I lost family. But you know what? What I gained is much more valuable than pseudo-affection and pretended love. Pretended allegiance. Because when it came right down to it, no one was really allied with me. Only the truth. And it's not for everyone. You've got to have that heart. You've got to have that willingness to change what you believe yourself. Because when you start investigating, you'll find many things that you thought were completely true aren't true. And that is the challenge of being an activist. Are you able to handle your entire set of values being shaken? And sometimes that happens. But think of the greater good. I'm not trying to scare anyone, and I'm not trying to push anyone. I'm just saying what it does for me. For me, it is the ultimate fulfillment of intellect. Do you have the ability to creatively examine, to do creative thinking? That's been the subject of our lessons heretofore, is being able to think critically about any given subject. And I have found through my own experience that through activism, through having a desire to know the truth and to effect change for good, for the betterment of all mankind, not just for self. Selfish ambition is a detriment to society. There was a movie that said greed is a good thing. Well, it's good for profits, yeah. But when you sacrifice integrity and honesty and compassion for profit, you have lost your humanity, so to speak. Because the thing that makes us human is being able to care about one another and love one another, help one another, protect one another. And that is worth more than much gold. And I said I wasn't going to try to promote a religion, but our Holy Bible says that a good name is better than much fine gold. How do you have a good name if you're a liar? If you promote falsehoods, you cannot have a good name. If you don't have a good name in business, what's going to happen? You lose clientele. You may even lose your job. If you're the president of the company, you lose the company. That's worst case scenario, of course. But you could lose profits. You could lose the expected growth of the company. So it all ties together. If you look at it in depth. Someone say, well, how does saving a tree help my business? It's all connected. Everything in this life is connected. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's all there as a progenitor or a benefit or a side effect or a detriment of everything else. And they say that good can't exist without evil. And that may be true in this physical life. I don't want to believe that it's true. I would rather believe that there could be nothing but good. But we know the human nature is a dualistic nature. We have good, we have evil within ourselves. And I know I'm digressing again. But that is the thing with activism. You start to see things differently. And it is a wonderful experience. It's frustrating at times. It is. Because you see how hard you've worked and still people won't listen. But you don't see the one or two that you have helped. And that is the essence of it. It is a hard road to hoe sometimes. It's got a lot of work. There's a lot of verification. There is a lot of repercussions that you may have. But it's all worth it in the end. Because the fulfillment is the reward. You may not see the change. Your life may end before it actually changes. My life may end before anything is changed. But you have made a difference. Your voice was heard. And your plea resonates with someone else. And many people say, well, so what? But is that not the essence of life? Why are we here? What is our purpose? What are we supposed to do with this time we've been given? And friends, you have to answer that for yourself. Is your life simply to accumulate goods? Is your life simply to get the big house and the fine car and however many kids, the trophy wife, the trophy husband? Is that what it's about? Then, if that's enough for you, to pursue that. But for me, there's more to this life than selfish ambition. There's more to being a human being than the accumulation of wealth, the making of my name, the establishment of Michael Bridges as a trademark. William Michael Bridges, born December 1st, 1970, died whenever. Is that what it's all about? And then a laundry list of accomplishments. Is that what life's about? How about the difference you make with your wife? Ladies, the difference you make with your husband. Men and women, the difference you make in your child's life, children's life, families' lives. That's what I'm asking you. The role of an activist is sometimes thankless. It's sometimes you get bashed pretty good on public media. You get bashed pretty good on social media that's not so social when you don't conform to their idea of what's social. Take feminism. And I'm not going to go too far into this, but feminism was started with Adolf Hitler and his type to destroy the family. And if you'll research this, you'll see that it's true. You can look up an interview that Aaron Russo done with Alex Jones, where Mr. Russo was told by one of the Rockefellers, we supported feminism because we could only tax half the population because only men were working. They wanted to get the women out of the household into the job force so they could tax the whole of the population. And it made it easier for us to get to the children in the schools. That's a direct quote. You can look up the interview with Aaron Russo on YouTube and see what he has to say. Aaron Russo is a filmmaker, and he done many documentaries about the system. And folks, there is a system. And again, that's something that you have to decide for yourself. If it is up to you, if you are up to it, to investigate it and to tell the truth about it. But I guarantee you that it will enrich your life. Again, the parallel between light and dark. And I don't mean to keep going to the philosophical side of it. But if you study philosophy, every action that you take has either a benefit or a consequence to society. Not just to you, but to society. Can one man make a difference? Can he? I'll give you two examples. The first one is Jesus Christ. Because of him, the world changed. I'll give you a second example. Adolf Hitler. Because of him, the world changed. Which side do you fall on? The side of light or the side of darkness? That's your choice. But let me remind you, each choice has a consequence or a benefit to you and to the global family. Homo sapien is our genus and species. Will you benefit it, or will you help destroy it? And I guess that may be getting too much into philosophy. But again, that's an activist. You look at things in the big picture quite often. And quite often you see that the big picture needs tweaking, or it completely needs to be changed. So, as I said before, this podcast is about activism. And I know I kind of got off track a little bit, kind of digressed a few times. But I believe I have brought a pretty good overview of something that I love doing. And I won't kid you, it's difficult at times. But the reward is immeasurable. And the feeling of satisfaction is immeasurable. So I encourage you to investigate becoming an activist. And I can't tell you which side to fall on, which side of a debate. That has to be your decision. And I made the reference of Patrick Henry. Patrick Henry said, I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend unto the death your right to say it. And we talked about Martin Luther King Jr. What would have happened had he not made the I have a dream speech? What would have happened if Rosa Parks hadn't defended her seat on the bus? What would happen if Gandhi hadn't have marched against what the government had told the people to do, actually not to do, to get that salt? Look it up. Gandhi marching to the seashore to get salt. And this is just a few examples of people who stood up, people who took action, activists. So, like I said, I can't try to force you into activism. I can only show you what good it's done for me. And I believe it would enrich your life to become involved in a cause. And like I said, the cause is up to you. But something that is dear to your heart, care enough about it to speak on it. Whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on a message board, whether it be Facebook, you know, there's all kinds of platforms to get on. Have a radio show like I do. Have a TV show if you can afford TV. Go on TV. Public access. Whatever. Find your voice and use it. And, you know, good luck. Good luck with it. And I know you will enjoy it. If you take this up, you will enjoy it. I guarantee you. So thanks for your time. And hope I didn't take too much of it. But thank you that you listened. And we'll see you in class.